Join us for Going Deep with me, Richard Mills. We interview the highly interesting and exciting David Almirol, CEO of Multisys Technologies. Many people call it, like me, the most important tech company in the nation these days. Be with us for Going Deep. We interview David Almirol. So welcome everyone to this edition of Going Deep with me, Richard Mills, and we welcome David Almirol, the high-flying CEO of Multisys Technologies. And the company has accomplished a lot over a short period of time. And David's been a busy fellow doing all of this. So we'll have a wonderful session and glad to have everybody with us. So welcome to you, David. Really glad to have you with us.
Hi, Richard. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, David, can you start off, maybe just tell us a little bit about Multisys Technologies and yourself and what you're doing?
I am David Almirol, as the CEO and founder of Multisys. Multisys is focusing more on R&D, research and development company. So basically, we are focusing on developing multiple system platforms to support our partners and clients.
All right. Well, David, can you tell us the story? I mean, how you started the business? I know you came back from Iraq, if I recall, where you worked in quite an interesting, difficult circumstances, most people would say. Came back and started your business. What was the mechanism, how you started your business?
Well, when I was an OFW, I've learned a lot of things there. So I become like a SpongeBob from everyone. So everything I have now is actually coming from multiple friends and partners when I was in Iraq. So I've met a lot of good programmers there. So basically, they mentored me. They taught me a lot of things. Especially the high-end technology. That's why when I came back home, I was able to also mentor some people. So I also distribute this assets of technology to my staff or to my people. And the journey is not easy, Richard. You know some part of the story, because I have to accept any job when I was in the Middle East. So sometimes you need to prove yourself that you can do the job, right? But since I don't want to waste time when I was there, I have to accept every job available. And I'm not ashamed to admit I become I become a janitor for like a year and a half. So basically it's okay. And somehow I become also a warehouse person. I become also a merchandiser. I also work in the warehouse that time, and I also work with several colleagues in the cargo. That's why I'm a very good forklift driver, Richard, just to inform you.
So that's interesting. So you ended up in Iraq during the war time. So there was bombs dropping around and, you were there. But why did you get chosen to, work and driving a forklift? How did you move over into software development and systems?
That time, my job was not for programming, but I was able to show to my boss that I can do programming. So I was able to build a warehouse management system. So there you go. You can do programming. And then little by little, they acknowledges all the things that I was able to develop. And I was able also to help them on the remittance, system and several warehousing, inventory, and sales management system. So there's a lot of systems that I was able to build in the camp. So there you go. That's the journey of them putting me as one of the senior programmer inside that base. But of course, since I was the resident programmer, there's a lot of foreign IT. They have to leave because they have to stay for like 2 months or 3 months inside the base, but they have to leave. That's why they have to teach us or teach me whatever they got because they have to leave. So that's the story why I was able to grasp and absorb a lot of technology, Richard. It's a blessing out of disguise.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So that you learn different kinds of systems, different kinds of platforms, and then kept on maintaining and building the systems, working with these other people based in different countries. Is that right?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, one of the things that I like there is more on the biometrics. So I was able to. That's why when I went back, if you remember, I'm part of the development team of the immigration system in the Philippines. So I was able to contribute that
I
in
see.
the Philippines. So and biometrics is really a very exciting way to, authenticate, some kind of like identity. That's why in Multisys we have a lot of identity management system, including face recognition, iris matching system, fingerprint matching system, and even a signature matching system. So those are the new technology that I was able to, to embed now in Multisys, which I learned that, okay, from my fellow programmer friends when I was on OFW.
I see. And then how long were you in Iraq in total, David?
It was really an accident. I did not intend to go to Iraq. Who wanted to go to Iraq? That was the worst. That is what the worst years of, of the war. And I don't really like the war, to be honest. I don't like what I've seen there, but I've learned a lot. And if you're a Filipino working abroad, the, the reason why you went abroad is to help your family, Richard, to earn some
Yes.
money, and then you go back home. But of course, I need a greener field to go to, and they offered me, a better salary. Of course, I sometimes if you go to the most dangerous place, the salary is quite, higher than the
Sure.
normal salary. So I accepted that job, Richard.
Okay. So when you came back, then you were able to save some money, and that was the money you used to start Multisys, was it, or how did that work out?
No, 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 no. Actually, yes, I earned some money, and I went back in the Philippines. So because I am a really hardworking guy, Richard. I have like three jobs when I was abroad.
I
So I was a
believe you.
janitor, I was a warehouse worker, I was also a programmer. So I have like three jobs at the same time. So I earn money. But when I went back, of course, I saved some money and I started my business. So I started building my computer store business in the province.
I see.
So yes, so basically, computer store, we it's a buy and sell business. So you have to buy computers, laptops, cell phones, and then I resell them in the province. So young and stupid, Richard. I built so many branches, like seven branches. I have some branch in Cagayan, in Isabela, and also in Nueva Vizcaya. Unfortunately, I failed, Richard. I lost everything.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
so that's my second big failure in life, because I was trying to shun away from my first love, right? I was a programmer, but there you go. I'm trying to become a computer store owner, and there you go. I failed, and yeah, so that's what happened. If only I started, building the software company after the Iraq time, I guess, we're more bigger now. But of course, I learned from that mistake, Richard.
Okay. So, okay, so you it didn't work out well with the computer stores, but then how did you start Multisys then?
When I lost everything, we even lost our house. Can
Oh
you?
God.
Yeah, yeah, believe it. We lost our house thrice actually. The first one when I was like 22 years old, I started internet cafe. So my dad, used our house as a loan. There you go. I lost the game, and I went abroad, and then we lost again our second house because we have to pay some some debts to some family members. And then the third time we lost again our house because we have to sell it for us to have some, for us to sustain our life. We need money to sustain the small business. And there you go. We did not survive, so I don't have choice but to go abroad again. That's my finale, my only hope to to come back is to go abroad again. So I went to Manila to find jobs, and of course I have to walk and look for recruitment agencies that they need my skill.
Okay.
So there's a lot of offer, but they only give small salary every month. Especially if you go to Middle East or to Southeast Asian country, there's a lot of offer, especially if you are
Okay.
a technology guy. But the problem is they give you little compensation. So I'm
Right.
trying to look for a better compensation. But the problem is, even I would like to accept the job, there were no ready job that time. So I don't have choice but to wait. And I was actually sleeping in one of the couch of one recruitment agency. So since I don't have money to go back home, so the recruitment agency owner asked me why you're sleeping in my couch, why you're not going home. So I told him I don't have money to go back in Isabela. So will you allow me to sleep in your couch while waiting for my job? He allowed me. And this guy is my best friend now.
See.
So yeah, and then he told me, can you do my system while waiting for a job? So there you go. So I developed his system. So he's paying me like 25,000 a month. There you go. I can live. I have food,
Sure.
I can. And then there you go. Then he asked me, now you have 25,000 pesos. You don't need to sleep in my couch. Okay. You have to find somewhere else. So I went to Santa Ana. So there was it's like um it's actually a small room inside a certain. It's really messy there. So it's like if you open the door, you can see the river with all the floating
Oh,
garbage in it. Yes, so that's my first room. So I'm paying. I was paying like 20. I was paying 5,000 pesos. So that's like $100 a month rental.
yep.
So I have 20,000 pesos to sustain my life in Manila. So that's where I started building more systems. Okay. And then there you go. One company, he asked me to do this and do that. And then the system that I built for this guy, his friend acquired it again. And then his friend acquired again. And there you go. I had like 16 companies that time. So that's where I started Multisys.
Interesting. And now today, Multisys is a large organization. You invited me to tour your facility. It's a beautiful facility near a multinational village in Parañaque. And roughly how many employees would you have in total?
From 2010 to 2014, I was alone that time.
Yes.
So 2014, late 2014, that's the time I started hiring people. Okay, so my first team, I called them the Avenger team. So I have five programmers, the Avenger team. So I have my Thor. I call him Fat Thor now because he become fat. I have I have my Captain America, and then I have my Black Panther. I have my Hulk, and then there you go. Me as the my code name was Iron Man. So that's the Avenger team. From two, from 2015 to 2016, and then we gradually grow. Our number become like dozens already. We become like 50, I think. But 2017, we tripled our number. Now we have 1,500 workforce nationwide using our
Wow.
partners' workforce also. But we have more than 400 IT experts now in Multisys, Richard.
I see. Wow. And I know well, not recently, what, about a year and a half ago, a large organization, the PLDT group, asked to become part of your group, and you accepted them as a large investor. Now they're a notoriously demanding, naturally, they have high expectations and they don't just choose anybody to invest in. Why did they choose you? That they wanted to partner with and invest a lot of capital with you, David.
Yes, when the MVP group saw our potential as a software house and as a bespoke solution development company. So late 2018, they were able to actually they did not just invest. They send an army of technical diligence team.
Yes.
when I said army, it's really an army. Because they have to investigate, right? So they have to check everything that they have one by one. They look on our platforms. They also send a battalion of lawyers and accountants to see also the books, etc., etc. And then, yeah, we're quite happy because they were able to see the potential of Multisys. And then there you go. It took them like 11 months to finish the due diligence. 11 months. So it's not easy. So we have
Not
to
easy.
comply. It's not easy. So, but we learned a lot, and they guided us. In fact, they can say that we are like a super startup. We have a super messy, like documentation, something like that. But they also ask us to be organized, Richard. And then there you go. So we have to hire more people to organize organizations. So there you go. So late 2018, they were able to acquire 45% of Multisys for a 2.1 billion. So that's the start also of the big growth of Multisys.
Fantastic, David. That is just a wonderful story. And now you mentioned that it's typical for most entrepreneurs to be you described the word messy, and I know that would be the typical because you're focused on your clients and building your business and keeping your employees happy, not always on whether the financial statements look proper and all these kind. Now, but so it's changed now. Has it a lot since PLDT came in? You have to be more corporate, or are you able to still be the entrepreneur you're used to?
One thing that we really appreciate with the strategic partnership with the MVP group, they help us organize, and
Okay.
structure the company. But I did not intend to make Multisys a super, corporate, because I don't want to get affected on the culture. And I would like us to stay in a very agile startup mindset company. I like that one because we don't focus more on the revenue drivers, but we focus more on our people. And as we produce, revenue will always follow. And yeah, I think the model of Multis is quite unique because we don't focus more on like getting projects here, projects there. No. So we allow our creative team, to have this free flow of thinking, develop bespoke solutions, rather creating a problem solver solutions than a revenue driver solution. So that's
Okay.
what we're able to accomplish for a couple of years.
I see. And now, David, that's a fantastic story. Now, what do you, if you were to advise and inspire young people to start their own businesses, because we do want more Filipinos to start their businesses and be successful, what advice would you give them? I mean, because this is quite a story. You built from nothing and truly nothing into a really successful outfit. Well, what advice would you give them?
Actually, I don't want to advise because until now I am still learning from a lot of people. But maybe I can give some insight. I think I'm not in the right position to advise because I'm sure there are better startups there than Multisys. But one thing I learned is, you know, don't be afraid on, in exploring possibilities. And growth is not about, how good you are, but growth is will start when the moment that you learn to merge your skill and strength with others. So you can leverage your skill, yeah, the skill from others, and then they will leverage also your skill, okay, to them. So it's like merging the strength all together. And maybe one thing that I can give insight to some startups is we have to look for the right people in your organization. You have to get people that they have the same passion as you have, the same vision as you have, and the same, mentality that you have. Because if you have people in the organization, and they don't carry the same, passion. Basically, they're just a typical employee. So that's how Multisys started, because we are like group of friends. We say we have the same vision to grow, and then there you go. It will go in a more spontaneous way, because you guys don't consider doing other things than this vision. So that's my humble advice, Richard.
Okay. Now, you work, I've heard, uh, fairly regularly with Manny Pangilinan, who's well respected. He's, for people who outside the country, he's the chairman of the PLDT group and quite a force in the economy in Philippines. Also, naturally, I've heard very, demanding as all of these successful people are. They need to be, they have to be, because they have a vision for their future. How can you how do you work with such demanding people and succeed without being driven insane? What advice would you give on that?
Actually, one thing that I love with the MVP group, they allowed me to become agile. So they're not actually ask us to be like tied up on whatever they want. So they give us a chance to become independent. That's why we're very agnostic in nature. I
Okay.
think my advice is that instead of us competing with anyone, like PLDT did to Multisys, they allowed us to become very agnostic. So that we can build more horizontal businesses along the way, and then we also allow partners to build vertical business on top of our horizontal businesses. So it's a model that it really be very competitive and profitable for startups, Richard.
Yeah, okay. And now, David, you're very good at building relationships with many people, like you just described there. Um, Has this always been a skill you've had, or is this something that you developed? Because the stereotype of the programmer is he's shy, he likes to hide in a back room somewhere, and not the outgoing personality like you appear to be. Is this the way you've always been, or did you develop this skill?
It's maybe because I failed many times, Richard. And
Oh,
if you already failed many times, you're afraid to fail again, right? So the best way to alleviate that failure is to ask help. Okay, learn from your colleagues. Learn from them. And then if you don't know this, you ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking help, Richard. And I don't expect even us, even in Multisys, we are not perfect. Even me, I'm not perfect, Richard. But I don't I don't expect you to become perfect as well, Richard, but I expect you to learn. That's why I always tell to my people. So I always tell them that I don't expect my employees or my colleagues to become perfect, but please, I expect you to learn. All right. So, and then learning from the failures is actually the best teacher, um, out of this imperfect world. But as they merge their strengths, they will create a certain perfection. It's actually a collaborative perfection.
yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. But again, David, I've been through so many tech companies, and a lot of the tech, the software developers, it's very hard for them to interact effectively with people because they're introverted, they're very shy. Why are you so different from that? Were you always like
I,
this, or did
I, I think it's because I learned that partnership is the best way to do this. And I
you?
don't
Okay.
have choice. I need to interact. And I need to show them what I have. I need to tell them that this is what I can do for you. And I need to tell them that this is what you can do for me. And I think that it's a learning process, Richard. Maybe I learned from the years of interacting with people, and I learned from mentors as well that I have to tell them what I have, or else I'm just hiding inside the closet, right? So, you know, as a typical IT geek inside the room doing source codes for like the whole day, and you have a golden product in your hand.
Yes.
Now, all you need to do is open the door and tell them that, hey, I have this golden something in my hands. That's why I don't have choice, Richard. So sometimes survival made me speak that time, Richard, to be honest.
Okay. All right. So when you hire people, now you hired your initial 5 guys, and now what kind of people are they? How do you hire people? What do you look for when you're hiring people?
I don't look on the skill, I always look on the attitude, Richard.
Okay.
Very important. Very important. And I don't expect you to become the high-end programmer, but I expect you to become a fast learner, Richard. You know, in Multisys, you can find people here before they are like junior programmers, but now they are senior programmers now. It took them a couple of years to elevate on that skill set. And I can you believe it? I even have a coffee maker before, and now he's a senior programmer. Can you believe that?
I see. Wow.
Yeah, I have also a non-IT before. Now he's a senior programmer. Because programming is not actually a profession to me. It's actually a passion. It's all about creating an idea, not only creating an idea, but making this idea as a live, living, I can call it creature or thing, but it's basically like an intangible asset. But making things into a live platform, that's amazing because it will give you like a bragging rights that hey, I have this idea, and now we're making it live. It's like an obra maestra, Richard, creating a painting out of this one. So you think of this and then you just do the free flow. You paint, put your mindset, put your heart in it, put your passion in it. And then after you finish this platform, you will be amazed. It's a beautiful new live idea, Richard. So I don't know if you can feel me. That's the how I feel every time we build a certain platform.
I see. And so when you hired, now you said you had to double or triple your organization over the past few years. How do you hire these people? Do you get them out of school and develop them? Are they already trained from somewhere else? Where have you found the best people?
Sometimes it's actually trial and error. Not everyone that you hire, they are belong to the company. Some
True.
of them, they have this culture shock because we have different model in Multisys. Sometimes we work like overnights here, but sometimes we took vacation for a week because they've done their job. Some programmers, they are more conventional. They do like an 8 hours work. But in Multisys, we don't care about the time. As long as you deliver, you can work for an hour a day. It's okay. Okay, but sometimes there are times that we have to invest time. We have to do hackathons. We have to, maybe sometimes we will not sleep for like a couple of days, but we have to put like fun in it, like fun. We're not forcing our people to do that, but they're doing it because they're very excited, Richard. In fact, but not all people in Multisys, they have that kind of mindset. Some of them, they don't want to get disturbed during holidays. They would like to sleep, early. Some of them, they rather sleep in the morning and then they work at night. Some of them, they rather do, like a close collaboration because they love to work with closed loop environment. Some of them, programmers are quite different. They are a different animal, Richard. I call them, sorry, I'm not saying different animal, but I'm saying it's like, you have to be very creative on managing them. You should we have to be them for you to understand them, Richard. Because if you're trying to tell them this is what you have to do, this and that, believe me, they were gonna leave you. I've experienced that. Several programmers, especially last year, and I'm quite sad because there are programmers also who left our company because we're not able to mentor them that this is the culture of Multisys. We're not able to tell them that this is the passion that we have because we are away from each other. So these are the things that somehow we experience, Richard, and then it's a learning process.
Okay. And the people who, there's a lot of very good people who look good on paper. And I know everybody who hires people goes through this. People who have all the right backgrounds and experience, and they seem like people who are really going to do well, but something happens that they don't. Is there reasons that you've seen Why is it that some people do well in any organization and other people don't? Is it all attitude, do you think, or what do you think?
My my technique as a leader, I have to ask who they are. Okay, do not tell them who they can be, because I don't want to use a spoon if he's a fork. You
Yeah.
cannot use a fork if he's a spoon, Richard. So meaning you have to ask them. You have to ask them, what are your expertise? And you ask them, what are the fields that you can improve yourself? And you'll ask them, where is your passion? And then there you go. That's where you're gonna merge your idea where to put them. In every organization, in every employee or executives, there's no such thing as like a um, like a fixed criteria, okay, for you to choose, and then you're gonna use them in this field now. So you should be very creative, and I think in every organization now they have their own way to grow their people. Same thing with Multisys. We have our own way to grow as well, and I guess it's more on unconventional way of managing right now, especially with the new normal, Richard. I cannot even see my people; they are working from home, most of them. So you need to be very
See.
really creative.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's very interesting, David. Now, David, you come from the Cordilleras region. Is that correct?
I am from Isabela, so
Isabella. Sorry. You
yes,
went to
but I
school.
studied in Baguio. I studied in the University of the Cordilleras, so I stayed there
Yes.
during my college days. Yeah.
Okay, but Isabella, and it was a small town, David. What? How would you describe where you grew up?
I was in a barrio, so my dad was a farmer, my mom was a market vendor, so we are really in a really small town.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Wow. And your parents, were they strict with you? Did they leave you to do whatever you wanted? How did they raise you, David?
Oh, my dad trained me like a soldier, man.
Oh,
So I have a couple of hours to play, but I have time to study because my both mom and my dad didn't finish school because of me. You know what I mean, Richard. So
sure.
they have to to raise the family without a proper job. So the frustration of my parents, they have to focus on me because I might fulfill their dream. So they have to mold me in a way to become like their fulfillment. My dad really, he transferred me a lot of assets coming from his very strict, leadership to me, and it's good, it's good. And until now, if my dad did not train me that way, I'm sure I'm not like this now.
Interesting. Okay. And so in school then you were good in school? Did you follow the rules? Were you rebellious? How were you in that?
As mentioned to you, I was trained like a soldier, so meaning I should be
Okay.
top of the class all the time, or else my dad will give me some lessons, So
Is that right?
yeah, so I need to be first at school, and he always tell me that if you have to exert your effort, you can accomplish something. There's no such thing as like an excuse being on top. The reason why you're not on top because you're not climbing at all. So I think those lessons that I learned from my dad, I have to study well. I I was a bookworm, Richard. I really love to read. I really love to memorize, and that's who I am. But at the end of the day, it's all about making things more relevant. So that's how I learned when I was a kid from my parents.
Amazing. Okay. And now, David, can I ask you a question? There's a lot of people think, well, do you think leaders are made, meaning they're born that way, or do you think they are bred? They're created. People, they get the right training and they become leaders. Do you think they're made? Do you know what I mean? Is it in your genes that you're a leader, or is it something that you were nurtured by your father, by your other people? What do you think, David?
There are different kind of leaders, Richard. Some are made, because it's in their blood. But some leaders are also self-made, meaning because they exerted effort to really go there. And some leaders are also more on the collaborative, meaning they are there because there are people who supported them. So for me, I think it's all about I cannot tell actually. Until now, I don't even consider myself as a leader, Richard. I still consider myself as a follower. But one thing I learned is, if you are a very good follower, you become a good leader. And if you are a very good leader, you should be a good listener. And if you're a good listener, you become also a good follower. It's a loop. The listener, the follower, and leader. So it's a model that I was able to, learn from my dad again, Richard.
Really? So you don't consider yourself a born leader then? You think that you were developed? I mean, but how can you come from Isabella and doing everything you're doing now? That's so amazing.
Oh no, no, no. I'm sorry, Richard. I don't look myself to be like born a leader. In fact, until now, as mentioned to you, I don't want to consider myself as a leader.
Okay.
I rather consider myself as a listener and follower, and then somehow as I listen and as I follow, and there you go, maybe I become a leader. So it's a closed loop environment. Listen, follow, lead.
Okay. And your schooling, David, how important was that for you? Do you think developing, with the things that you've accomplished? You mentioned there's other people who work for you who didn't have special training. They're pouring coffee for you and they've become very successful. Do you think school is really important in developing people, or is it less so? What do you think?
It is very important. You need to have this
Okay.
basic. It's very basic. But
Okay.
again, programming is actually a different, profession. You need to, most of the successful programmers, they are self-taught. They were self-taught.
Yeah.
So meaning they have the basic, but they strive to learn because technology is changing, Richard. What I've learned when I was a kid is not applicable now. What I've learned when I was in college is not applicable now, but there are foundation of this knowledge. So you have to use that, and then you have to continuously adapt in the new technology, and you have to adapt, you have to upgrade, and you have to make sure that you enhance also your skills. So especially when you are working with information technology business.
Yeah. So learning new skills is important. Okay. And now, with your organization growing, you've had to promote people into management type roles or leading teams and so forth. How do you assess people? How do you choose the people that you promote into more senior roles, David?
The one of the challenges of managing an IT company, you cannot combine sometimes the marketing skill and technical skills. You can find few people can do that.
Yeah.
Normally, some technically enabled people, they don't want to talk much. Sometimes they are very good in marketing, but they're not technical people. It's really hard to find that kind of like a
It
perfect,
is.
combination. Few of them you can find. But I think in terms of like making them as part of the executive level is to make sure that they will learn from you and you learn from them. Actually, um, you have to trust your people. So like me, if I have some several staff that I have to put them as a leader of a certain division, so I'm not gonna tell him that you are good, so you manage this one. No. So my message to them is like, I trust you, and then you have to prove to me that you are worthy that position. So I give them a chance to prove themselves. And then, yeah, sometimes I'm quite surprised because I didn't expect that they can do the job, but they're doing it. Sometimes it's all about trust. You have to trust your people. Very important. To delegate the job. Do not expect them actually to be a success. In fact, my model, I expect them to fail.
Hmm.
I expect them to fail because if you expect them to be successful, you'll be frustrated sometimes. But if you delegate something and then they succeed, there you go. At least you expect them to fail, right? So
Okay.
just
And David, you've talked a lot about passion and motivation. How do you motivate your people? I know you mentioned you make it fun. What kinds of things do you do? I mean, when you're under pressure for a deadline or something, how do you get everybody together and motivate them?
We always tell to our people that Multisys, this is not their company, this is their family. You have to create this family centric culture, because if they own the company, they will protect it. If they own the company, they will do their best, okay, and help the company. Because typical employees, they will just do this much, but they don't do their best. But if they are already owning the company because they're part of the family, you can feel like they're carrying each one's burden. Because sometimes you cannot carry all the burden, Richard. You cannot just command and, hey, you do this, you do that. I don't do that. And it's quite frustrating sometimes. You want to do it, but every time that you push them, as you push them, they fail. But if you tell them that, hey, have fun. Okay, you do this, but you should having fun. And there you go. They will their creativity, their productivity, their agility will come out naturally, Richard. So I think it's all about inspiring your people, not because you're giving them high salary or high compensation,
Yep.
inspiring them because you're telling them that this is my vision for the company. And since you are part of the company and you are part of the family, this is also your vision. The success of Multisys is also your success. So I think inclusiveness is very important, Richard. And inclusiveness made them, very inspired and motivated.
Okay. And I know within your head office there, you do a lot for your employees. It's quite impressive. You have a games room with various sports activities, an exercise room. You have chefs who cook for them. This is part of that, motivating people, keeping them happy.
Yes, sometimes you need to create a life work balance, and we give them, actually we give them free food, free stay. We provide free breakfast, free lunch, free dinner. We also provide them their own gym with instructors for them to be fit. We
Wow.
also provide them their own barbecue, area. They have their own sauna here. They have their own massage parlor here. They have their own salon, and we provide all the things that we think it will make them, you know, feel like we're taking good care of them. That's very important because programmers, especially IT people, they don't focus more on compensation, Richard. If you meet a programmer and they will always focus on the compensation, meaning they don't carry the same passion as you have. But if they see that you're taking good care of them by give them small things, small, like talking of appreciation, they really appreciate that, and then they stick with you. The loyalty will be there.
Okay. And David, your wife. Now you got married. You've been married for a long time. You've been through a lot together. Can you tell us how did you meet your wife and how long have you been together?
Oh, this is a very personal interview,
It
Richard. But
is.
okay, I'm gonna answer that. Yeah,
Okay.
well, my wife, we're together since we're kids, so she's my childhood sweetheart. Yes, so I think she was my girlfriend when she was only 12 years old. So basically, I was 13 that time. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. So she's really been all the ups and downs. She's been with you. Wow. So
Oh
did,
yes, yes. Yeah, she stick with me thick and thin. So with all of the ups and downs of our lives, she's there. Who she never doubted our uh, my capacity to survive and and because I'm very hardworking person, Richard.
you
If I
are.
can do three jobs, I can do that just for the
Yep.
family.
Yep. And did she was she active in your business or is she focused on her own activities, David?
Now she's my COO in
Okay.
Multisys, and she also manage Multipay.
I
And
see.
part of that, she also managed several companies like we have Multifresh. So she's also, somehow managing partly. And we also have several companies like Multiparts. There are non-IT company startups that were able to also establish for the past couple of years with Charles. So she's really involved with the business.
Okay, good to see. And David, what advice would you have, or how do you raise your children? Is there special ideas and plans? I mean, you mentioned your father trained you like a soldier. Is that the same kind of strategy you have, or is it something different?
No, no, no. I let my kids learn on their own. So I told them I trust them, and I told them that what we have now is because of the hardship of their dad. And I told them that you have to make sure that you can continue the legacy, but I don't want to implement a soldier training thing like my dad did that to me. But I told them that this is what my dad trained me before. I don't want to do this, but I have to trust you. And yeah, they're good kids. They learn to be humble. They learn also to somehow know that they need to accomplish something to have something.
Okay. And do you think things are different today raising kids, or you think it's mainly the same? A lot of people are concerned about social media and these things. Anything concerns you, or you think it's all okay today?
It's really different. It's really
Yeah.
different. Big
Okay.
difference. When I was a kid, I didn't even have gadgets with me. My first game when I was in high school is called The Breaker. The you
Oh,
know if you play, now everywhere they have gadgets, they have laptops, they have this PS5, they have this virtual gadgets, and I think you have to understand that they are in their own era, and you have to adapt also, but you have to tell them that these are the priorities in life. Yes, you can do this, but hey, you have also responsibility. So I think it's really different, Richard.
yeah, it is different. Okay. All right, David. And now health. I know you have a health studio at your gym at your place, but you work long hours like many people do running organizations. Do you have time to exercise and eat properly, do you think? Or is this something you're younger than me, or maybe you're not thinking about that yet? What's your advice on that?
That's part of my New Year's resolution, Richard.
Is
To get
it?
fit, very
Okay, good.
important. That's why
It is.
I even renovated one of my place. So I converted into an office workout place. It's an office workout place where while doing meeting, you can walk in my treadmill. Then you can put your laptop on top of it. There you go. You're walking and you're doing meetings. And I have also my own stationary bicycle there. But you can also put your laptop again there. Then you're cycling, but you're doing meeting. And on the other side, I also put my punching bag, and in the left side, I also put my dumbbells and all the exercising gadgets. So basically, I need to do that, Richard. Sitting down for like a lot of
Yeah.
hours, it will really stress you out, not only mentally but physically. But you have to combine this, mental and physical exercises, Richard. Very important nowadays.
It is very important. So I'm glad to hear you say that, David, because it is so important and it really creeps up on you once you hit 50. Oh, David, if we could talk about the Philippine economy that you're very active in so many different sectors. What do you think are some of the major opportunities that we have in Philippines? On the technology side, where do you see the future over the next 3 to 5 years?
There's a lot of innovation nowadays. It's becoming like the new gold mine. If you
Yeah.
are a very creative individual, you can create a lot of assets. If I said
Yeah.
assets, not only the tangible assets, but since we are in a software business, I think one thing that we could contribute is to build a lot of intangible assets to our partners. For the next 4 to 5 years, I think there will be a lot of innovations that will be introduced in the market. That's why everyone is trying to build a unique, relevant, and revenue generating platforms. That's why in Multisys we always look at the problem, and then there you go. You look for a solution, and then it's all about speed nowadays, Richard. So if you are the first one who get there, you will win the game. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
potential for the next 4 to 5 years, especially in IT business.
Yeah, it seems very exciting, David. And you think we'll be able to pay our, government bills and taxes online and things like that in the next 5 years, do you think, or do you think it'll take longer?
Well, it's all about infrastructure plus solution. Sometimes, especially when you do a digital transformation initiative, you have to combine both hardware, software, and peopleware all together. The software will
Yeah.
not be software will just be one of the component if you go with this new normal. Even if you have a system without internet connectivity, how could you use the system, right? If even if you have a technology or you have an infrastructure without people managing it, without the peopleware in it, you still fail. And I think for the next 5 years or to 10, I think we might have a slingshot, but we cannot do it 100%. We might still handle cash payments, but I think large part of that will be cashless. And before we're doing a lot of manual and manual processes, but now we're going into a paperless processes. So it might be an equal balance, Richard. It might fly, but not 100%.
Okay. What are some of the areas? I don't know. Can you tell us a couple of stories that would get us all really excited about, the future projects that you're working on, either with government or the private sector? What are the ones you're
Oh
most?
yes, yes. Last year and this year, we've launched a lot of platforms.
You
And these
did.
platforms are more on enablement, on e-health. We're doing a lot of things for the e-health. We're doing a lot of things also in e-government, since we have
Okay.
to contribute also in the ease of doing business of this country. And we're quite fortunate that several government agencies they partner with us. We're also focusing on e-learning. That's very important. Nowadays, everything is
Yes.
virtual, so we have our e-learning platform. We have e-commerce. In fact, before the end of the first quarter, we're launching the biggest e-commerce platform. So meaning it's actually a platform where any restaurants or any grocery or mall or shops, they can now do a self-service uh, advertise or sell online. And we have like 85,000 riders now that they could pick up the food or goods and deliver your product door to door. So we are bridging the gap, Richard. My job now is not to compete, actually. We partnered with a lot of partners. And then if they have their strength, we contribute our strength to enhance their current strength and then make it and put something like a digital play in it. And there you go. We use the strength. I use also the strength. Altogether, we become more bigger as partners.
See. Okay. And so for young people who are building their career, what would you recommend them, David? The tech field is wide open. How do people get involved in that? And is it the only way to go? Is technology really what young people should focus on, or is there other areas that will do just as well?
No, technology might be diluted in the future because everyone is doing it.
Yep.
Now it's becoming like a rising industry. But if you try to look at it, there are rising industry now. Agriculture is a big one now. I've seen it because I have another company that does agri-technology, but we focus on empowering the farmers. E-health is also a good one. Transportation is also a good one because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you need to transport goods, you need to deliver this and deliver that. Logistics is also a big one. Advertisement is also a big one because you cannot only do like a advertisement, like a physical advertisement, but you can do it an online advertisement. That's why there's a lot of industries that it can be bundled in technology, but it will not fly without both of them. So there's a lot of industry that not only technology, but of course technology will fly high in the next 10 20 years, right? So
Yeah. Sure.
we should focus on it as well.
Okay. And David, do you see anything holding the country back, developing and with growth and so forth, or do you see it just smooth sailing ahead?
Implement building a platform is might be the easiest part because we Filipinos were very good in technology. I can see that. We can build innovative,
I agree.
highly expandable systems and replicable systems. But sometimes it's all about governance and implementation. Very important. If you build something and no one is using it, that platform will be useless. Even if you build a beautiful platform without implementing it in a way that people will use it, I think governance is very important. That's why we really need the government. We really need the government to really help us, and implement these solutions that we're able to build. And of course, the big conglomerates and the big corporations, because right now, even if you build something without their support, at the end of the day, technology will be just a technology without implementing it.
Okay. Okay, David, this has really been a very good information. Now, for your company, Multisys Technologies, where do you see that in the next 5 years or 10 years? Would you expand throughout the region? Would you take it to become a publicly listed company? What are some of what's your vision for the future, as they say?
There are endless possibilities, especially that we have a lot of very good partners now, Richard. A lot of friends encouraging me that, hey, we have to list Multisys. Some friends also told me, hey, we have to expand abroad. We're able to expand. Actually, we are quite busy in 7 countries now, Richard, even in Europe and in
Yeah.
Southeast Asia. And it's all about finding the right partners, Richard. Very important. Expansion is easy. It's easy to tell. It's easy to tell that I can expand this and expand that, launch this, launch that. But without a good partner, it's really hard to fly these things. So I think in Multisys, I just hope that this growth will continue, but we are trying to merge Multisys now to more strategic partners, Richard.
Okay.
And as we merge ourselves with this, bigger groups, I think they empower us, and we also amplify everyone's, businesses. So maybe Multisys, hopefully, and I pray that Multisys will continue to grow, and hopefully not maybe in the Philippines, it might be the biggest, software company in Southeast Asia and even in the world. I don't mind
Wow.
claiming that, and I think
Wow.
Filipinos, we can do it, right? So as long as we have the right partners.
Sure. Okay. Good spirit, David. And then lastly, for you, David, what is your plans? It sounds like you're going full force. What for the next for foreseeable future? 5 years, 10 years, or you're gonna slow down at some point? What's your ideas for that?
My plan personally, that's a very good question, Richard. I love to, I'm really excited to meet new tech youngsters, Richard. I really, I think it's about time to look for your successors. Very important. In fact, I've seen a lot of good friends, young ones, that they are the future. I think me myself, I consider myself that I think I'll be part of that. But I think there are better ones that will be coming out. There will be more Richard Mills and David Almirol in the future, Richard. So we have to look for them, and we have to make
Yeah.
sure that we have to tell them that, hey, you're doing the right thing. Sometimes people that has potential without a mentor beside them, they will go in the wrong path. That's why me myself, I'm really excited to meet new startups. I'm really excited to meet new people that somehow, if we could help and we could somehow mentor them, and somehow contribute that they should not repeat the same mistake that we have done, Richard. Right? So that's what I'm excited with. I think empowerment will be my moving forward, Richard. I stay that
Okay.
way.
So you don't have a plan, you know, 5 years, 10 years of letting someone else run your business for now. It's going to be David for the next long time
No,
running your.
no, no. We already trained a lot of Davids now in Multisys. In fact,
Oh,
we have like 35 executives. Multisys can fly now without me, Richard. They can kick me out already. So, I think I was quite successful mentoring my people, and as I trust them, they're able to show that. In fact, even better than me, Richard. So I think Multisys can fly without me already. So I'm just here to be their sidekick now.
okay. Well, I'll have to prove that. But David, you've really done well. It's really an inspiration. And yeah, so please keep up the great work you and your group are doing. It really is making an impact, and it's really going to have, it's really going to bring Philippines to the next level. These things you and others are doing, but you're certainly a big part of it. So thank you very much, David. Very, very nice to have you. And we'll see you again soon, I'm sure. And this has been Going Deep with me, Richard Mills, and our friend David Almirol of Multisys Technologies. So see you next session, and thank you very much.